tender. Turn your face away from the garish light of day. Turn your thoughts away from cold, unfeeling light, and listen to the music of the night. Close your eyes and surrender to your darkest dreams. Purge your thoughts of the life you knew before. Close your eyes, let your spirit start to soar. And you'll live as you've never lived before.
Good. Let's just go that far.
I like that the orchestration underneath this supports sort of a context where you're allowed to be as intimate as you can be within your voice. You're allowed to have the conversation in the most private, intimate way, even though Hal, within the framework of the stage, has given you the Broadway moment of a cape and center stage, and he's done everything that he needs to do within the framing to say it's her moment to deliver this. And yet I think, and he could correct me because I could be wrong, but I think Andrew has created this in such a way that from a dramatic standpoint, it is about it being intimate. Yes, it blossoms and it grows and it becomes more exposed, and the music dictates that by the time we get to the end where she actually does release. But the fuse we have of thought that leads to that really calls for it to stay private.
Having not had performances for 18 months, we as a production supervisory team had the opportunity to really start from the beginning. We produced a new libretto. We produced a new vocal score that contained some revised elements approved by the composer and the lyricist. And we rehearsed our actors as if it were a new show. After 18 months, some of them couldn't remember anything. There were habits that we wanted to break. We made adjustments to some of the staging. What was available to us in 1986 has evolved over those 35, 36 years. And so we felt that we could approach it with our knowledge gained from that time, but also how we might bring a freshness to the production.
A lot of the changes were based in just making sure these characters were real and had real emotions and were in a crazy environment. Yes, the surroundings are magical and out of this world, but their emotions and how they interact with each other are based in reality. So that's what most of the changes were based in. Also, I know that Lucy St. Louis, who is Christine in the West End, she made some changes, or she brought up things that that just made sure that whoever played Christine, it doesn't matter who they were, what race they were, they could play Christine. And specifically those had to do with, like, in lyrics, like there's a lyric that Meg says to Christine. She used to say, your face, Christine, it's white. And now she said, Christine, are you all right? Because of obvious reasons. And also we changed a couple things with, like, body doubles too with Christine, because you just you just don't know. Like, and she and Lucy, I think, didn't want anyone out there portraying her who was not a person of color, obviously. And so those are really important changes, I think, that are like have made the show so much better and so much more realistic and exciting. So, yeah.
Trying to remount the show and give it not so much like a new spin, but it has to have a different perspective than when it was shut down. It just has to. Like, you can't. Everyone's bringing in 18 months of sometimes like garbage that we've all dealt with, you know, during the 18 months. Also things that we've discovered about ourselves. The show couldn't not grow. It had to be different than what it was when we shut down.
It's so much fresher. It's more modern within the context of the show. But what I love most is how empowering it is to Christine, particularly by the end of the show. And the strong woman in me is really excited that I get to be feisty and fiery and messy and smart and intelligent and make choices. I love that. I love that.
From a dynamic standpoint, I just say bring it down so that it comes from a smaller place of needing to say this and almost believe it as you say it. Reinforce it with the next phrase that follows in teach me to live, and then give me the strength, and then we can launch into something, as opposed to it coming from a place where we're always going to live already there.
Yeah.
I think from me, the dynamic says I've decided.
Yeah, we tried to do that.
Yeah.
And that you normally do, so that it's a 3-part phrase.
Yeah.
And now the climax. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So almost turn in to say it to yourself, reaffirm it, and then let it launch out so the release happens.
Okay, yeah.
And the link is knowing we must say goodbye, therefore try to forgive, teach me to live, give me the strength.
Okay, yeah.
Wishing you a summer again, knowing we must say goodbye. Try to forgive, teach me to live, give me the strength to try. No more memories, no more silent tears, no more gazing across the wasted years. Help me say goodbye. Help me say goodbye.
Resolved. Resolved.
Really, from those early days of 2020, looking at a realistic, conservative return of let's all aim for Labor Day, let's all aim for September of 2021 and give ourselves a chance to plan. I think that's when I started to feel like it would potentially come together in that way. The dates might shift around a little bit. I think at one point we were looking at August, and then suddenly we were looking at September, and then Phantom specifically was looking at the end of October as a return. Personally, having experienced what it was like in London, having gone to Australia and seen how things were wide open and free during the middle of the pandemic, and then quickly, almost overnight, shut down again because they hadn't necessarily prepared for the return or the resurfacing of any type of COVID cases. I was really pleased that we as a production chose to be a little bit more conservative and go a little later than some of the other larger legacy productions, long-running productions that were going to lead the way in New York.
6 months before they announced that Broadway was coming back, Andrew Lloyd Webber called me, and we had a conversation about Broadway coming back and everything. And again, I treaded cautiously and lightly, because everywhere you turned, it was, are we really coming back? Are we really coming back? But I mean, I have to say too, our boss, Andrew Lloyd Webber, he's badass. He's been such a pioneer and proponent for getting the arts back up and running. And that has really trickled down through the company.
Conversations were ongoing for the reopening of Phantom, in that would our entire cast wish to return? Would we need to audition? How would that process unfold?
I called my agent and I was like, listen, like I had been in for them a couple times before. I had gotten really far, and is there a way that I could just like be seen for them in person when they do in-person callbacks? And they were like, yes, let's get that done for you, because they know you already. So that's what I did. I came in May, I think, for my first in-person callback, and I did probably like a couple, like probably 5 or 6 other callbacks after that throughout the summer. And then there was like a long gap after my last callback where I didn't hear anything from them. I think they were sending videos back and forth to Andrew and Cameron in London. And so they had to get approval from them, and also just like have conversations about us. And then I had gotten an email from someone who worked with Kristen Blodgett, who is the music supervisor for Phantom, to perform or like sing backup at the it was like the Phantom documentary, like world tour documentary that they did in August. And I hadn't gotten a call for Phantom by then. And so I went to that rehearsal and I was like, everyone here has been involved in Phantom before. What's going on here? And then the next day is when I found out.
I mean, the rehearsal process in New York was unique in that it was the company's first time coming back together to start a process from the beginning. And that set the tone for what we were going to do in a very short period.
We're all able to, be on the same page. If you're all able to, rehearse together, and you're getting the same information at the same time, it just helps to bring people together.
Out to R. Back to hum. And the same. Back to the hum. And 1.
Welcome back. You can't tell, but I'm smiling. Before we do anything, we have the incredible honor of having Andrew with us. So I want him to come forward and just join us.
also just being back in the room with everyone again. I mean, this is our family that we weirdly would see on little tiny screens on Zoom occasionally throughout the pandemic, but here we were, all in one room. And also, of course, too, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the first time we're singing this together. And it was really magical.
You know, I think that's something that Seth said on our first days. Like, this has never happened since 1988, where the whole cast is in a rehearsal room rehearsing the show. So to have those days, to have those weeks in the rehearsal studio, and then have tech and dress rehearsal, like, it's just stuff we don't have.
It was just like an honor to be in a space where everyone was so excited. Especially, I was talking to people like, I mean, this is a long-running show, and people have been in the show for decades. That day was really fun. I remember, Andrew came, he talked a little bit. It was my first time meeting him, and he's such like a funny man.
It's hard to put into words, really, what I feel. I mean, Broadway has always embraced Phantom, and we've just got to make sure now that there's a new generation who see it, because one of the things we've discovered, interestingly in London and also here, is that the audience is far, far, far younger for Phantom than I think everybody who's not involved with the Phantom family knows. And if we could get everybody back again and get everybody back into the theatre and talking about it and make it the hot show again that it really should be, well, I know you lot will do your very best to do that. And I'm just immensely proud and very, very moved to be here on Broadway talking to you, because, you know, Phantom is obviously a baby of mine, of which I'm extremely fond. So, onwards and upwards, I think.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
let's go for it. Thanks, guys. Thanks.
Oh my gosh. Reopening night was a beautiful, chaotic dream of emotions. I don't know how to even explain it. It will be a memory that I have forever with me.
When I first stepped onto the stage as the Phantom, it was awesome, because we had that home crowd, you know, and they see me through the mirror, and they all, you know, everyone lost their minds, which is, you know, I wish it happened at every performance, but it was just a fantastic feeling. It was a release, I think, for me, for the audience, to be able to experience that again.
This reopening for me, I think, felt a little bit more personal and a little more nerve-wracking, because without Hal there to say, this is swell, I'm happy. Without Hal there to say that everything's swell, I had to use my best judgment and then look to Cameron McIntosh and look to Andrew Lloyd Webber and say, well, are we okay? Is everything okay? And it was awesome. It was awesome to sit there and have Cameron on one side and Andrew coming up from behind my shoulder and giving notes and having responses and engaging with the production again, like it's new, like it is happening for the first time. I mean, that's how invested they are within the details of the piece and the staging.
When I see the production, I saw the dress rehearsal last night, I just kept thinking, it's Hal's masterpiece. So, if anything, I think both of us would dedicate this performance to Hal and to Julie and to Maria and the fantastic team.
And thank all the wonderful artists that have done this show over the last 34 years.
It is.
I can't believe it's that long.
I know.
But you look so marvellous.
But I return the compliment.
Thank you.
But it's as fresh as it ever was. We've had a chance to rewritten. But we'll talk about that later.
I mean, the crowd, and this is a crowd that probably has seen the show before, the way that they were clapping after like every single like classic Phantom thing that happened. Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber did his thing afterwards and DJ'd the heck out of the Majestic Theatre.
All we can do is keep working as we are with an intention of keep going. We constantly discuss what is happening around us. Everyone is keeping safe, but we don't know what the future is going to be.
I miss seeing like stories that I'd never seen before and like falling in love with the piece after seeing it for the first time and obsessing over the cast album. I miss a lot. I miss backstage rituals. I miss getting tea before shows. I miss a lot.
Phantom, which is the most iconic, epic, longest running Broadway show, when it comes back, it signals something. It signals Broadway is back, New York is coming back, international tourism is coming back. There's so much of a bigger symbol going on when Phantom of the Opera comes back to Broadway.
The musical journey takes us down. I think sometimes emotionally we can become a little bit reflective and melancholy. But actually it's don't do these things. And that keeps it a little bit more buoyant.
Okay.
All right. You want to do the cadenza?
Sure.
Sing out.
Let's lead you from Flowers Fade.
Flowers fade, the fruits of summer fade. They have their season, so do we. But please promise me that sometimes you will think.
It's really beautiful.
Thank
It's
you.
really beautiful because it's so positive.
If you happen to remember, stop